Leica D-LUX 8, it is official. We can talk about it, the pros and cons, and I can answer your questions. Let's get down to it. Before we kick things off, though, I'm not paid or sponsored by anyone. These are my thoughts and my thoughts only. The camera goes right back to Leica after this video, by the way. So let's answer some of your questions. The first question a lot of you guys were asking me is this camera made in China or is it made in Germany? Where is it made at? The answer is it's made in China. However, there is a difference to this D-LUX 8 than the other D-LUXes out there, and that is, it is designed in Wetzlar, Germany. You see this right here on the top of a Leica camera? When it's here, there's a reason for it. Leica doesn't put that on any camera out there, okay? They do that if it's designed by Leica or it's manufactured by Leica. Now, in this case, it's designed by Leica, manufactured in China, but the build quality on this D-LUX 8 versus the other D-LUXes is significantly better. When you get this in your hands, you're going to appreciate the build quality. I called it a baby Q because of the way it feels and the way it's designed. Leica even says some of the DNA for the design comes from the Q. It's inspired by the Q. Now, it's not a Q camera. Keep that in mind. It's a different camera. It's not full frame. Doesn't have a 20 millimeter Summilux. It's a different camera system, but it has the design elements of the Q, and it feels really good in the hands. You would not know this is made in another country. And look, everybody's saying, well, if it's made in China, blah, blah, blah. Look, you know what other camera's made in China that everybody's clamoring to get right now? The X100VI. Is anybody complaining? Nope. You know what else is made in China? iPhone. You know what else is made in China? MacBook Pros and Mac Studios. Does anybody complain? No. So let's just put that aside for a minute and let's just appreciate the beauty of the D-LUX 8. Can we do that? I think we can. Next question I got is, should I just wait for the Panasonic LX100 version of the D-LUX 8? Well, there will not be a Panasonic version of the D-LUX 8. According to my sources at Leica, from what they told me, the agreement is that Leica will be making this camera exclusively. Now, I don't know about future cameras in the D-LUX lineup. I don't know that. But I can say right now for the D-LUX 8, there will not be a Panasonic LX100 version that I've been made aware of from what my sources at Leica told me. So with that said, if you want this camera, you want this style, it's going to come from Leica only in the D-LUX 8. All right. Other questions you guys were asking me is, the lens, the sensor, is it the same as the D-LUX 7? The answer is yes, it is. I asked Leica this question, how come there were no improvements in this way? And they gave me a very definitive answer. They said, look, we have gone as far as we can with the optics of this lens to match the sensor in a way that we feel still holds up to this day. And after using the D-LUX 8 for a period of time, I can agree with them. And I've used Leica cameras, as you guys know, for a long period of time, from the SL, Ms, so forth and so forth. And the one thing about Leica cameras, even if you want to talk about the Q for a second, going back to that, Q1, Q2, Q3, all use the same lens, 20 millimeter Summilux f1.7, right? Doesn't change, no matter the sensor. And then why is that? Because when Leica makes a lens, they are designing it to be the best it can be, not just for the camera of today, but for cameras of tomorrow. Case in point, for the SL fans out there like myself, the 2490, right? The variable aperture 2490 zoom lens that came out with the original SL, I believe it was 2015, is still revered today, even on the SL3. What is it? 9 years later? Why? Because Leica designed that lens to not just resolve 24 megapixels, but 60 megapixels and beyond. That's what they do. But then you might say, Bobby, this lens is not made in Germany. You're right, it's not. But when Leica works with somebody to make a lens, they still require a level of craftsmanship and build quality, optically, the way it's designed, the way that it performs, to match their criteria. So this lens paired with this sensor, even in 2024 with the D-LUX 8, very similar to the D-LUX 7, performs beautifully. So they feel like they didn't need to upgrade. Now, you may disagree. I'm just putting out what they've told me. And based on my experience with previous Leica cameras and lenses, you know what? They make lenses that last a very, very long time. Next question I was getting from you guys is in terms of performance. Autofocus, is it phase detect or contrast based? It is contrast based, but it is fast. It has face and eye detection, so you're getting that inside of this as well. It looks very similar to, like I say, Q1, Q2, Q3. Q3 is phase detect, Q1, Q2 contrast based, but it is very quick. It is very snappy. I had no issues really with autofocus whatsoever. Continuous autofocus will flutter a little bit here and there. Single autofocus is locks on, it's great. And for the type of photography that you're gonna be doing with this camera, you primarily will be an AFS for the most part. You can go IAF if you wanna do that, but AFS, AFC once in a while, but AFS is where I kind of sat, and I was very happy with the performance of this overall. What about the video specs? Have they changed? Well, you can shoot 4K 30, 4K 24, 1080 as well. There's no 4K 25, which seems a little bit odd because 4K 25 works for this part of the world. Maybe they'll add that in a future firmware update, who knows? But as it stands right now, it's 4K 30, 4K 24p, and here's a sample of the video of me hand-holding it, walking around Chinatown. So we'll do a little bit of a video test here with the D-LUX 8 4K 30p. There's no 25p, which I normally shoot my videos in, so yeah, it's going to be a little bit different here for this review, but nonetheless, just give you an idea of how it performs with the OIS inside of it. There is no mic input jack, so I'm just using the mics that are built in on the camera system, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. But as you can see, there's a lot of backlight to me here. Probably a lot better light here at this point in time. I'm using the vivid color profile, give it a little bit of a punch, and that's it. There was stabilization inside this camera though, and there was a mic input jack. This might be a great little handheld camera to play around with. As you saw from the video there, has OIS in the lens, no image stabilization in the body, which is unfortunate. Been nice to have that included, but the video it's there. There's no mic input jack. It's kind of like the Q as well. I don't know if they'll implement something through USB-C. They didn't tell me, but it'd be nice to have a mic input jack. So if you want to shoot with a mic, you can. But it's if you need video in a pinch, it's there, but it is what it is. So keep that in mind. In terms of the EVF, it is slightly better. It is an OLED EVF, slightly less resolution than the previous EVF, but it is an OLED. So it's very sharp, very good color, very bright, had no issues, no complaints whatsoever. And the resolution is very similar to what we're seeing on the like A7Cs, A7CRs from Sony, respectively. So it didn't bother me in any way, shape, or form. It was fine. The rear 3-inch display has slightly more resolution, 1.84 megapixels versus 1.24 megapixels. So yes, it is slightly more, and you do notice it. So the images do look sharp. They look great on this. It is a touch display when you're navigating the outside and through the initial menu system, but when you go inside the menu, then you have to use the directional pad for that. So keep that in mind. Very similar to the Q1, Q2, respectively. This flash though, is awesome. I love this flash. I tried to fit this on my SL3. It wasn't fitting on. It was a little bit tight. And I was like, you know what? I do not want to scratch the top of the SL3. So I didn't try it. I don't know if it works on an M camera because I don't have a digital M, but this flash on the D-LUX 8, awesome. Really good natural light that comes out of the flash. It's not overpowering. Again, you probably can tweak it to be overpowering if you wanted to, but you just turn it on and shoot, and it's great. I mean, obviously some reviewers have it, some don't. I have loved using this flash, and yeah, wish it worked on the SL3, but if it works on an M, pick this bad boy up. It has USB-C charging, which is great. Micro HDMI, which I don't know if you're gonna use an HDMI port. Let's talk about accessories for a second here. I've got the grip on here, which is something I would highly recommend. The camera feels really good in the hand as it is, but the grip with the shutter release, I have the brass shutter release here, and also there is a silver one, and I've got some other bags to show you as well. I don't have all the accessories, mind you, because Leica Singapore didn't get them in stock by the time I was able to do this video, but we do have sort of a shoulder bag here, which is great for carrying around. You could carry other things inside this, because obviously it's a very small camera, very well made. I think they had this for around the D-LUX 7 as well, but they're here for the D-LUX 8. Got a nice little pouch here if you want to store some stuff too, you can do that. Very, very cool. Put it there. Can you put it in there? Yeah, you could put it in there. Would you do that? I don't know. I guess you say you could put cables and cards and stuff, but it's there. It's available if you guys want it. Then we've got this fanny pack, waist pack, pouch thing, Leica branding on it. As you can see, I haven't even used this thing. It's just for demo. You can put that with the, the D-LUX 8 in there. It's going to fit in nice. So you're walking around town, you're doing a little bit of touristy stuff. It's pretty good. The Leica branding a little bit incognito, black on black, doesn't scream, it's not in red, which is good. No red tags on this to worry about here. So yeah, you're pretty good on that. And that's kind of what I have for the accessories here in a nutshell. Obviously there's more straps, there's more different colors, because obviously Leica's giving you a lot of options to really, make this your own camera system. But that's it, guys, in a nutshell. The D-LUX 8 is a camera that impressed me a lot more than I thought it was going to. I do love the build quality, the design. I call it a baby Q because the way it looks. It's just a gorgeous camera system, by the way. Oh, did I mention lens cap here? If you want to know. The question I had, can I see myself going with a micro four thirds camera? And as you know on this channel, I don't review micro four thirds cameras. I don't really get asked to review them, number one. So that's one thing. But number two, I just always felt like maybe micro four thirds was sooner or later it was going to go away and it would just be APS-C full frame and medium format. That was just my take. But after using this and talking to other people who do enjoy Micro Four Thirds for a variety of different reasons, I've slightly changed my opinion on that. And I do feel that there is a place for this sensor. In a camera like this, it makes more sense. I know a lot of you were hoping that this was going to be APS-C, and I understand you. And in some ways, I was hoping for that too initially. I thought that would have been really cool if they would have done that. But then also that price would have gone up. Then at that point, what camera is it competing with? Is it going to really be something where people go, well, do I just get this D-LUX 8 that's APS-C, or would I want to just go with another option out there to the marketplace? So I feel this camera's kind of got its own little niche that works really well. It's a great little lens. It's 24-75 f 1.7 to 2.8. It's fast aperture, really good optics out of this, really good colors. The sensor performs well, even though it's a 21 megapixel Micro Four Thirds, but effectively 17 megapixels when you do the crop factor coming into play in the lens. It still works in 2024. Would I like to see higher megapixels? Of course. I mean, at least 24, that'd have been great. But looking at the images online and seeing how I would use this camera and the optics, it does perform better than a 17 megapixel camera sensor. You know what I mean? So that's sometimes when I review cameras, I do look at the optics paired with the sensor, because not all optics are created equal and not all sensors are created equal. When you have a really good lens and a good sensor and they work together cohesively, you can get some really fantastic images that look far above and beyond what you see on a spec sheet. And that's how I felt with the D-LUX 8 in that regard when it came to the image quality, that it really performed exceedingly well. I've been looking for a smaller camera. I know that's kind of in vogue right now. We're seeing these small cameras from, let's say, obviously Lumix with the S9, then we've got, Fujifilm with the X100VI, and this is kind of Leica's version, so to speak. It's not the same, but you know what I mean? It kind of fits that small, compact, kind of very, sleek camera. And I think for a lot of people out there who just want to get into Leica as their first camera, or maybe you just want a nice small camera to take with you on a trip, and you don't want to carry, an M or an SL camera system, or even a Q, you just want something small, compact, and light. This is really nice to have. There's been one issue I've had with this camera. One. And it could be user error. And that is the focus box constantly moves. I don't know how it's moving because I'm not touching anything for it to move, but it moves. So sometimes I'm just like, I turn it on, put in the center of the frame, I shoot. I'm walking around, I go back, and all of a sudden I put my eye up to the EVF and the focus box is in the corner. And I'm like,
how did it get there? I didn't touch.
So I don't know. It could just be probably user error, but just something to keep note of that I noticed. Anyway, guys, that's it on the D-LUX 8. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're looking to pick this camera up and have any more questions, I'll try to get answers for those. With that said, if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I've already hit 60K subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. I'm aiming for 100K. So if you can subscribe to the channel, help me achieve that goal, that'd be awesome. With that, guys, take care, and I'll chat to you soon.